Muscles Convoy, and today I'm taking a look at Bailan-01B Nightmaster, which is their version of a Bayverse Legend Scale Nemesis Prime. Oh boy. This figure is on loan to me from Saint, a friend of mine in my Discord server. Thank you so much for letting me take a look at this figure. We'll start off with the box, which is literally just a completely unmarked box with just some text around it. Not for child under 6 year. Chalking hazard small parts contain. Please pick up, not for child play. The image shown here is indicative only. Actual product may differ. Bro, there is no image. Anyways, we got this from Shozi. I'll toss a link in the description. And let's get it started. So this is pretty fantastic to see. Legends class has made its way into the films, and this is, I think, our first ever real, I guess, like masterpiece Legends style Bayverse release. Very cool. Proportionally, there's already a bit of it that feels off, but I think this design was going to be like impossible anyways. There's something with this midsection region that just bothers me, and like I don't really know what it is. I think maybe the hips sit too low, so it gives the illusion of the torso being way too long, and it just bungles the proportions. But for that's like a really, I think, niche complaint for a transforming legend scale approach of this design. One issue I do have though is like the black on this figure is this very matte black, and it's kind of like, it feels almost like chalky in hand, like someone painted it with like acrylic like store paint and just left it. It doesn't really feel that premium. The original seemed to be very glossy and really caught the light really well, and this is just kind of boring. But I guess glossy black has really immediate disadvantages, like, you know, being an absolute dust magnet, so I understand maybe why they didn't make that choice. The pinstriping around the blue flames or the teal flames is done in silver, and honestly it looks really nice. I'm actually really impressed with a lot of the parts of the paint job outside of like the matte black. The flames do look really nice. The red that's being used is kind of like that speckled like metallics that Magic Square sometimes uses for their silver. I'm not sure if I love it. I kind of wish it was just a more vibrant regular red, but maybe this is more like realistic coated. You have gold highlights as well that are done pretty well. There's a lot of like good niche paintwork on this figure. I'm pretty impressed, and that metallic like teal / blue is really powerful to look at, and it is a very clean design from the back. This is so impressive for legend scale. So impressive, so impressive. Unfortunately, proportionally, like his head is really small, so like I don't even know if I'm doing a good job of showing off his head sculpt for the camera. Let me see if I could, oopsies. Let me see if I could zoom in and maybe like angle this upwards, like, yeah. So the eyes are painted red. My camera is just not capturing that at all. You can kind of see right there. The head sculpt is very small, and the eyes frankly barely show up in person too. Just kind of inevitable, and when it's like red on black, there's only so much you can do. Nice midsection shot right there again. But, you know, sculpt-wise, detail-wise, I think for the most part, it does do a pretty good job. I don't like how skinny these wheels look, but the fact that they exist is crazy to me. And they're real wheels, right? So it's just, a lot of it is like, man, I have a complaint, but at the same time, unbelievable. Unbelievable this exists. Let's get started with articulation though. So this head is on like a bunch of things going on right here. There is a ball joint right there, and then this piece is also on a hinge. So you can get like all the way up with that ball joint, and then that hinge right there, right, can let you move his head all the way back. And if you want to, you can look all the way down as much as the front of the chest permits. Unfortunately, the side to side is a bit limited because of the angle. You have to like get his head up as much as possible, so you have a chance of clearing these pieces, and even then you gotta like tilt the head to do it. So not ideal for the side to side, or I mean for like looking side to side, but you know, and there isn't that much side to side. The ball joint for the head is very stiff. Do be careful. Make sure you rotate it from the very base because it does feel very stiff. Speaking of stiff, his shoulders are also incredibly stiff. Going outside, you can also move up these, and it only gets 90 up. They are universal shoulders, but they are very stiff. They're on screws, but the screws come stripped from the factory, and this isn't mine, so I don't want to mess with it more. Not really convenient. There is a universal bicep swivel that, of course, gets tight at some points and is loose at others. And there is a elbow bend, which goes well beyond 90 degrees to about 135. You have a wrist swivel on the hand peg. The hands are swappable. We'll talk about that later. You have a waist. Oh, yikes. Oh my God. Wow. You have a waist swivel. My God. There's an ab crunch located here on this hinge right there. Just kind of untabs first, and then there you go. Pretty cool. It's above the waist swivel. You also have another joint, which is like inside, where you can like, this detailing here kind of like attaches like that. So like you kind of have like a, am I bugging? No, I'm not bugging. Okay. I'm sorry. For some reason, yeah. So when the waist swivel, when the ab crunch opens from the back, this part attaches back here. I don't know why I refer to the hips as another joint. Jesus. Sorry, guys. That waist swivel audio attack kind of rattled me. You have ball jointed hips that gets you 90 degrees up. So when you combine them with that ab crunch, you can get a pretty deep bend, and you can even put them out to the side a little bit. And, you know, that's good. That's nice. Awesome. They don't go out as much as I would like, not because of the wheels, but simply because of the shape of the sculpt. Even when you move the wheels out, it just kind of blocks right there. But that's okay. The wheels are on ball joints, so they can move out of the way. You have thigh swivel. Again, the wheels do just move out of the way on their ball joints, so that's all fine. You have a knee bend to about, I would say a little bit past 90 degrees. The wheels eventually catch up against this part, but you still get your 90. The ankles are pretty hectic. I didn't mention it when I looked at the figure, but there is kind of like a gap between like the, you can kind of almost see my background through it. There's like a gap between like where the foot really is and where the ankles actually are. They're all just held together by like this piece, right? There's no mass. Like I can kind of just, there's like an illusion of mass there. It's just empty. And it kind of does show up, especially during the day, a little bit less at night right now. But the ankles have a hinged ankle tilt right here, which allows this part to move very freely right there. But they're also on a ball joint right here. This ball joint isn't really for articulation purposes. It's more so for transformation, but it can get you like a little bit up. And if you mistransform the heel, you can go down. You can even tilt a little bit to the outside. So there's a little bit of motion on that ball joint, but not anything really significant. For the most part, pretty posable, pretty clean, pretty crazy for a Bayverse figure of this size. He does have a lot of accessories, so that's going to take a while as well. Just starting off, we do have 2 swords. They just plug in and replace his hands. Though I will say it's a real shame, like the top half is unpainted and they are very small. I'm not really, I don't know. They just plug in like that, but I'm not really feeling the size. They feel incredibly small to me. I think they really should have been bigger. They feel more like daggers right now. He does have 2. He also has a hook. He comes with a pair of these. They're identical, and I don't like the shape. Like, I don't know why they're not shaped like a hook. They're just shaped like a long thing. They're shaped like I don't know, like a rifle with like a hook-shaped backwards bayonet. It's bizarre. Like it seems several toys have done the hooks with much better shapes. I don't know why these look like, they look like a candy cane. They don't look like a hook. I mean, I guess a candy cane can hook things, but like, you know what I mean, right? Like it doesn't, I feel like Bayverse Prime hooks should be like that, not like this straight thing, that hook at the end. In terms of alternate hands, he does have the fist holding hands, which we showed him with above. He has this pair of, I think it's like meant to be like relaxed or kind of like grabby hands. They're not sculpted very well though. I'm not really a fan of the sculpt, so they don't look dynamic, but they also don't look like relaxed enough. They're kind of like this weird in between. I don't really know what it's, I don't know, it's a weird pose. They just feel weird. He also has a really weird pair of hands, which is like this, like, I guess relaxed hand, but like for some reason it's like sculpted like this. Like, I don't know why it's like, Like, is it supposed to be completely flat? Like, why is it splayed outwards? Why does it look like this? It looks good in no poses. And then he has a pair of pointing hands. Sadly, they bungled it. The iconic Optimus point from Dark of the Moon uses both his index and his middle finger. This is just a single finger point. Unreal levels of LARP, if I'm being honest with you. The ion blasters are also incredibly tiny. You can put them in his fist whole hand and put them in his arm. And yeah, you can just like that is pathetically small. They look like ion pistols. I'm not sure why the accessories are so undersized. And finally, we have a alternate unmasked face. Really difficult to see on camera. Let me zoom in. You can see you can see my fingerprints right now more than you can see the details on this face. I wish I had like tweezers or something to hold this up, but you can see how terribly the paint is applied. You can barely see anything, but you can see like that giant splash of red on what very clearly is not his eye. The eye is up here, right? The eye is here. That right there is like his cheek. So you had one job and you bungled it. It looks fine. I mean, it's Bayverse Prime's face. At this scale, the details just blend together and become unrecognizable. But it's fun they included it. Wow, a lot of accessories. Very happy to have a Legends figure with a lot of accessories. For a really quick comparison, before we do the main size comparisons, let's bring in Revoltech Sci-Fi Dark of the Moon Optimus, and you can kind of immediately see what I mean by that proportional difference. Notice how, like, obviously this is a non-transforming figure. I'm not saying the proportions would be better on this. Obviously, they're not even comparable. But you can kind of see how, like, the torso feels a lot longer on this guy and his hips feel lower, which leads to him having, like, shorter legs, whereas this guy kind of captures that Babe Prime silhouette. This guy actually has wider shoulders as well. It's just, like, the boxiness of this torso is, I think, what's, like, losing me a little bit. But also, more damning is, like, compare the size of those energy swords, man, or those energon blades. Like, look at that, and then look at that, right? I mean, I know, I'm not saying it needs to be this exaggeratedly large. Obviously, that's not accurate, but like, this is insane. What is that? These don't even store in alternate mode. What was the purpose? I mean, I don't have this ion blaster with me. Like, what is the point of making this so tiny? Weapon size comparison, I guess. But for some more general size comparisons, let me zoom out for a second. So there he is next to the Revoltech. And here in the back, we're going to put just a Hasbro Deluxe. So he's about the size of a small Hasbro Deluxe. A generic third-party Legends figure, which is going to be Iron Factory's Inferno. The old Dark of the Moon Cyberverse Commander. Man, I had so many good memories with this thing, so it's kind of surreal to see like this masterpiece styled, like, let me move Inferno, let me put this guy in the middle. This like masterpiece styled version of him is like, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy, even though they're not the same deco. It's just crazy to see after all this time. The fact this thing exists is just like blowing my mind. Oh, and for like general size comparison purposes, since I assume everyone has one of these, here's a minifigure. There's Tahu, so you can see how he scales the Lego figure. And finally, for the most unanimous form of size comparison of all time, I'm going to place a ruler, and you can see, well, you can't really see it, but he's like about 4.5 inches tall. So hopefully that assuaded all of your size comparison needs. I am not buying whatever figure you put in the description to compare this to. I'm sorry. I don't really care if this doesn't scale with Black Series or whatever the hell you care about. But, you know, if you do say something I happen to have, feel free. I'll get it transformed and we'll take a look at his alternate mode. All right, so here we have him in his vehicle mode. And honestly, like, wow. Wow, is all I'm going to say. Here's a quick comparison with that same Cyberverse Commander, and you can kind of see, like, this thing's a 3-inch tall toy, this is a 4.5-inch tall toy, and this one really shrinks down. So it's pretty impressive how well they compact all that mass. For a comparison with a ruler, I believe he is right around a bit over, no, he's right around 4 inches long. So he does compress quite a bit as he unfurls into this mode. A lot of really insane transformation going on. The alternate mode, for the most part, looks pretty cool. The smokestacks are a bit short because, you know, it's just a lot of constraints. The robot mode is obviously the main priority, and this isn't the cleanest thing in the world. But honestly, like, it's so impressive the fact that it even works as well as it does. Also, a really nice job to paint the windshield wipers that gets missed on much larger toys. But yeah, it's not the cleanest thing in the world. No paint for the rear lights. I don't even think they exist, but that's fine. Little tiny auto brand placement. No chance you can find a symbol that small. Mess of hinges though on some parts, the grill especially, and the paint on, I want to say right here, has been scuffed since I opened it, unfortunately. There's a nasty slider joint there that is so not fun to manipulate during transformation. But for the most part, I'm impressed. I guess I'm going to move into final thoughts and my thoughts on the transformation. As it is, this figure is kind of a mixed bag. The fact that it exists is a miracle, but it comes with a lot of caveats, and unfortunately, there is a lot of them. Starting off with the most important thing is simply the transformation. It's magical in some places. I'm going to use this word a lot. And it's so efficient and it does something so well with space. But then there's steps like these sliders in the grill that are just a Herculean beast to handle. It's not really helped by the fact that for some reason, all of these tiny transformation joints, which support zero weight and have zero need to be tight, are so tight on this release that like it's just a pain to mess with. It hurts your fingers almost. And a transformation that could have been like super fun and like really entice you to do it every time because it's complex in the right ways ends up being not fun to do, which is unfortunate. Not really a fault of the design, but more so the tolerances, but also like, I guess the design didn't account for them, if that makes sense. The plastic quality also doesn't feel the best. This is going to tie into it, but this figure does not really feel like really well polished in that way. Like, especially like you can kind of tell by the box, they don't really care much about presentation, but then they're turning around and they're charging $60 for this, which is a very premium price for a Legends figure, right? Like, yeah, I know New Age is still worse, but 2 years ago, this would have been considered the crazy price it is. But now New Age is normalized $60 carbot. So like the sky is the limit for Legends, right? We'll just buy anything apparently, no matter how much it costs. The accessory count, though, I appreciate it with how much, like, again, New Age and Magic Square skimp on accessories these days. It's good these new companies understand you need accessories to have fun. Like, there's no reason not to include them. I have no idea why they're so small and why they're unpainted. Again, just them being small has nothing to do with price or anything. It's just why are they small? You know, like, there's some tabs in the back of his trailer hitch, but I don't think the guns tab in there, so I don't think their size is dedicated by weapon storage, so I don't really know why everything is so small. It makes no sense. The hands are also, like, I really appreciate the fact they exist. Weird sculpts in the hands, though. So there's a lot of, like, little issues that rack up eventually on what is otherwise, like, wow, I can't believe this exists. Again, the proportions are a little bit off, and there is a gap in truck mode between the front of the hood and where the bottom of the windows are. That's really annoying. I didn't point it out. I just missed it. But again, it's just, there's so many good things and there's some bad things as well. The paint is done pretty well, but then the matte black is kind of not great and doesn't feel so great. The articulation is good, but like the tolerances are kind of out of whack. So it's not as fun to handle as you'd think. There's a really big oversight that I didn't mention in the robot mode handling because I thought, okay, I'll mention it later because I'm sure the transformation is a reason for it. There are tabs on the bottom of his feet. And I assumed, okay, they might have a structural function in alt mode. No, they don't. They just clip the toes together when they hide inside the front of the truck mode, and there's no reason for them to have tabs. They could have just sat there with friction and they'd be held in by everything else. And instead they just make the toy really hard to balance. It's a stupid oversight on what is otherwise a really well-engineered toy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just very bizarre. It just feels unpolished because of that. I think this thing had a lot of potential, and because of some silly mistakes and just some like not so great quality and a really not so great price, it kind of fails to realize that as a finished product. Yes, it's amazing to have a Legends class Bayverse Optimus Prime. Is this a great toy for $60? When you remove the novelty, not really. Not really. I think it does a lot of things well, and I understand why a lot of people like it, but I definitely think it should have been cheaper, and there were a lot of easy things that could have been fixed before this thing shipped. Like, you know, bigger weapons would have been an easy one. I'm sorry, like that oversight with the foot tabs. I mean, you can fix it yourself. I'm not going to damage a toy that doesn't belong to me by cutting those off. better tolerances, better plastic if you're going to charge $60, or a cheaper price point if you want to use cheaper plastic. Like, it's not really like rocket science, I think, to ship a premium product so you can charge your $60 price point. You can at least have the audacity to, you know, paint the swords. Like, it's $59.99. This is not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But don't take this as me like saying this is a failure of a figure or anything, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's still amazing it even exists. I think if you still want one, don't let this discourage you. Just go in with an open mind of the issues it has and understand it has them, so you're not disappointed if they do crop up. That's pretty much it for me, guys. Again, thank you to Saint for letting me take a look at this figure. Link to where he got it, shows these, going to be in the description. And as always, I appreciate you guys tuning into my reviews. The Souls Convoy, peace out.